This is a little bitty fire, but it's keeping me a little bit nifty and warm tonight. We have an abundance of pine needles in our area, and every fall we gather black trash bags full of pine needles, and they make the best little fire starters. This is not the right way to do a fire. This is a very silly way to do a fire. But typically, if I'm doing it right, we put the pine needles on the bottom, and we then put twigs over on top of that. Yeah, it'll light back up here in a minute. And then after we put the twigs back on top of the pine needles, then you put the big logs on. But I'm being lazy. In a little bit I'll go get it and do it properly. But it's just nice to stay warm. And then of course you can see I'm getting all the smoke in the house, and so it's going to be very smoky because I'm being sloppy here. And there's a right way to do things, and there's a sloppy way and a messy way to do things. And sometimes we get it all right, and a lot of times in my world, I am more gifted at being messy than I am at getting it all right. But I find that in the midst of my mess, God cares for me, and He loves me, and He takes care of me, and He helps me. Even when things aren't going right, even when I don't have the strength or energy. Today I'm just being lazy, but some days I don't have the strength or the energy to do things right. I've had health issues over the years, and there have been a lot of days where I was maybe good for 4 hours in a day. Don't do this at home. Seriously, guys, don't do this at home. This is not the way to run a fire. But whether I do it messy or right, or whether I don't do it right, as long as I get the fire going, that's really what counts. It keeps me warm, keeps the house warm. I want to talk about mess for just a couple of minutes. The word mess, I don't think, is actually in the Bible. But we have an idea in our heads of what things should look like. The house should be clean. Some things are important. You do want it to be sanitary. You know, don't want a bunch of germs and don't want a bunch of little critters running around. Most of my life, because of health issues, it's not been the type of house that you'd invite a bunch of people over to and host a party. It's been a house you can live in, survive in. My children, from an early on age, had to learn the word no, because the house wasn't always what it should be. And safety, as a baby, we kept them safe, but by the time they were 5 or 6 years old, there were things that we were like, okay, you don't touch the fireplace, you know. And there are rules, and obviously we watched on them. Nobody got too badly hurt or hurt at all. I don't think not from those type of things. But there's been a level of mess in my world of things that I don't do well. And I think it took me more years than it should have to realize that just because people were displeased with me or disappointed in me doesn't mean my Heavenly Father was. See, they didn't create me. They don't know how the chemicals in my brain work. They don't know that most days of my life I was working anywhere between a level 3 and a level 6 pain in my body due to a finally diagnosed rare autoimmune syndrome. They didn't understand when I lost jobs at work because all of a sudden I couldn't think straight and couldn't figure out how to get a file folder into the cabinet, that I really wasn't trying to be bad or I wasn't doing drugs as some of the bosses thought. But my life was a pretty consistent patch of failures, at least in a lot of people's eyes. And I was discouraged for a long time, and I was disappointed, and I felt I was doing a really bad job. And it's interesting because heaven has sometimes a very different view than earth does. And if anyone has been discouraged, I would encourage you to look to your Heavenly Father for your approval and not be quite so concerned about the other voices around you.